тестирую модули.
А вы меня тоже видите? Или только по слайду видите?
Я, по-моему, камеру отключаю.
Отключаем?
Ну да, хотите включу?
Не хочу. Почему? То есть они только слайды, да?
Да, слайды и голос.
Все, да? Отлично. Good morning, dear students. Sorry for technical delay. Today we begin new cycle of lections. It's lections devoted to a new subject of studying. It's gerontology, geriatrics. As you know, it's a science that studies peculiarities of different processes of elderly people, of peculiarities of disease in this period of age. And to begin with, I would like to quote the words of famous people about age. Famous Rita Levi-Montalcini said, "To improve digestion, I drink beer. In the absence of appetite, I drink white wine. At low pressure, red. With high pressure, cognac. With angina, vodka. And the water? I have never had such disease." Rita Levi-Montalcini is an Italian neurobiologist, winner of the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine, and one of the most famous centenarians on our planet. She passed away at the age of 103 in perfect mind and health. And Seneca said, "And old age is full of pleasures, if only you can use it." Now we will talk about gerontology. Gerontology, from Greek geron, gerontos, old man. It's a science that studies the processes, mechanism of aging, its biological, medical, and social aspects. There are three sections of gerontology. It's geriatric, geriatrics, and gerontopsychology. Let's talk about each of it. Geriatria is the area of clinical medicine that studies diseases of elderly and senile people, developing methods of their treatment and prevention in order to preserve physical and mental health a person to a ripe old age. Geriatrics studies the influence of environmental and lifestyle factors on the aging process of a person, developing activities aimed at creating conditions contributing to maximum prolonging human life. Gerontopsychology. It's a science that studies the peculiarities of the psyche and behavior of elderly and senile persons. Directions for the development of geriatrics and gerontology. First of all, it's development of approaches to the treatment of diseases that occur mainly in old age, ensuring the highest possible life expectancy. Also, it's organization of medical and social assistance to the elderly and problems of pension provision. The main tasks of gerontology are to preserve mental and physical health of elderly and senile persons, maximum activity and independence of the elderly of old people, and social well-being and a dignified end to life. We know several age periods of human life. As you see, they are young age, average age, elderly age, old age, and centenarians. And according to the World Health Organization, young age, its age up to 44 years old. Average age, it's from 45 to 59 years old. Elderly age, it's from 60 to 74 years old. Old age is from 75 to 89 years old. Centenarians or long livers, it's persons who are over 90 years old. And species life expectancy in the 21st century, it's 110, 120 years. There are more than 100 people in the world aged from 105, 110. It's a classification of ages in years with pictures. Young age from 18 to 44, average age from 45 to 59, elderly age from 60 to 74, old age from 75 to 90, long liver from 90 to 109, and super long liver, it's over 109 years. There is a concept of age of a person. There are two types of age. One is calendar and the second is biological. Calendar age is the number of past years, and biological age is a measure of the aging of an organism, its health and future life expectancy. Absolute centenarians in the world, according to the data of World Health Organization, published in 2016, it's Jean Calment from France. Her age was 122 years old. Person from Japan, 120 years old. Sarah Naus from USA, she was 119 years old. One person from Russia, Yakutia, Semenikova Varvara, 117 years old. Lucy Hanna from USA, 117 years old. Yeramon Kumura from Japan, 116 years old. Maria Esther de Capavilla from Ecuador, she was 116 years old. And Pierre Joubert from Canada, he was 113 years old. We have to talk about factors that influence for life expectancy. And human life expectancy depends on several factors. As you see on this slide, lifestyle, our physical activity, our nutrition, it's from 50 to 60%. Only 20% it's ecology, 10% genetics, and 10% the level of medical care. So as you see, all in our hands, because lifestyle is the main factor that influence the life expectancy of people. And this species life expectancy of person is calculated for 120, 130 years. Let's talk about aging. Aging is a natural physiological process that results from the accumulation of irreparable damage to cells, tissues, and the body through the life. Aging is characterized by decreased adaptive capabilities of the body, reducing the ability to give offspring, increased likelihood of death, and polypathy. Polypathy is 3 or more chronic diseases. As you know, the more elderly the person, more disease the person have. There are 2 types of aging factors. It's endogenous and exogenous. Endogenous factors of aging is autointoxication with products of cell metabolism. And very important, exogenous factor of aging, modified. It's environmental influences. It's stress. As you know, our century is a century of stress. It's intoxication, alcohol also. It's unbalanced diet. It's physical inactivity, infections and trauma. And our physical inactivity is due to technical progress. It's due to a great number of cars, a great number of technical devices. So people don't have enough physical activity and physical inactivity. As you see, it's a risk factor of decreasing of life of person. The ancestor of the biology of aging is Mechnikov. His experiments to elucidate the effect on the animal organism of poisonous substance formed during petrifactive fermentation in the intestine. Bogomolets assessed age-related changes at the cellular and systemic levels. Connective tissue play a leading role in the mechanism of aging, such as nutrition, metabolism of parenchymal cells, the state of reactivity of the body, proposed to stimulate the elements of connective tissue. Nagorny, another scientist, put forward a hypothesis about a gradual attenuation of the process of self-renewal of proteins. This self-renewal of proteins leads to a decrease in the functions of the body. It's aging, protein structures with low metabolism appear, which, without particulating in metabolism, contribute to a gradual decrease in energy production. Pavlov, famous Russian scientist, proved the role of functional disorders of higher nervous activity in pathological processes and premature aging through disturbances in the regulation of the body's adaptation. A number of other Russian scientists have shown that with aging, the rate of RNA renewal and the state of chromatin change and the rate of renewal of individual proteins decreases. Metabolic and structural changes lead to significant changes in cell function, limiting their adaptive capabilities. Age-related changes develop earlier in regulatory genes and later in structural ones. In the aging process of a cell is caused by the accumulation of metabolites that form large inactive complexes that disrupt the normal function of cells. Let's talk about demographic situation in Russia and other countries of the world. The demographic situation is development in such a way that there is a very rapid increase in the number of elderly people in Russia. And nowadays, Russia is becoming one of the oldest countries in the world. The share of elderly people, according to the data of statistics, in the total population of Russia has exceeded to 20%. And according to the data of scientists, by 2025, 1 in 5 citizens of the country are expected to be 60 years of age or older. Calculated in 2016, average life expectancy in the world is that Hong Kong and Japan average life expectancy is 84 and 83.5 years. Italy, Singapore and Switzerland, the average life expectancy is 83.1, 83 years accordingly. Iceland and Spain, the third place, the average life expectancy is 82.6 years. The fourth place is Australia and Israel. The average life expectancy is 82.4 years. Fifth place is France and Sweden. The average life expectancy is 82.2 years. Sixth place is Canada and South Korea. The average life expectancy is 81.9 years. And as you see, Russia is on 116th place, and average life expectancy is 72.1 years. If we look back to our history, to life expectancy up to 20th century looked the same until 1900. Life expectancy in Russia and the world did not exceed 30 years, only 30. But Russia lagged behind neighboring European countries, where life expectancy was almost 1.5 times higher, and it was 43 years. It was higher than in Russia, but it's 2 times less than now. This life expectancy in these times was due to the poverty of a large part of the population of the world and Russia, frequent wars, high infant mortality, poor developed and poorly accessible medicine. As we talked above, in 2016, the average life expectancy in Russia was calculated approximately 72.1 years. For women, the indicator of life expectancy is higher than in men, and the difference is approximately 10 years. And for women, the life expectancy in Russia is 77.3 years, and for men, it is 67 years. Let's talk about life expectancy index. Life expectancy index is the main indicator of average life expectancy in the countries of the world. It has a direct correlation with the indicator of total health care costs. And the ranking countries by life expectancy is calculated by the United Nations Development Programme, State of the World Population, on the basis of statistics data obtained from national institutions and international organizations which are accumulated in the population division of the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. And according to the data of World Health Organization, the average life expectancy in the world become bigger from year to year. As you see, in 2015, the average life expectancy was 68.35 years. And in 2019, the average life expectancy is 72 years. Now we will talk about top 10 countries in the world with the longest and the lowest life expectancy in 2020 in the new data. 10th place of countries with the longest life expectancy is France. Average life expectancy in France is 82.5 years. In Sweden, average life expectancy is 82.7 years. Israel and South Korea, it's 8th place, and average life expectancy in these countries is 82.8 years. In Iceland, it's 7th place, average life expectancy is 82.9 years. Australia, 6th place, average life expectancy in this country is 83.2 years. Now we will see top 5 countries in the world with the longest life expectancy in 2020. 5th place is divided to Italy and Spain, where average life expectancy is 83.3 years. Such country is Singapore, it's 4th place, with average life expectancy 83.5 years. Switzerland, it's 3rd place, and average life expectancy in this country is 83.6 years. Japan, our 2nd place, with average life expectancy with 84.5 years. And the leader of our top is Hong Kong, where average life expectancy is 84.7 years. And now we will talk about top 10 countries in the world with the lowest life expectancy in 2020. 10th place, it's Mali, where average life expectancy is 59.5 years. Equatorial Guinea, where average life expectancy is 58.6 years. Guinea-Bissau, it's 8th place. In this country, average life expectancy is calculated as 58 years. South Sudan, average life expectancy is 57.6 years. And Côte d'Ivoire, average life expectancy of this country is 6th place. It's 57.4 years. And now we will talk about top 5 countries in the world with the lowest life expectancy. 5th place is Somalia. Average life expectancy is 57.2 years. Sierra Leone and Nigeria, it's 4th place, and average life expectancy in these countries is 54.3 years. Chad, it's 3rd place, with average life expectancy 54 years. Lesotho, our 2nd place, average life expectancy is 53.7 years. And Central African Republic, it's our leader of our top. The average life expectancy in Central African Republic is 52.8 years. What about Russia? Russia ranks 109th out of 191 with an average life expectancy in 2020 of 72.4 years and is inferior to countries such as Grenada, Libya and the Solomon Islands. In Crimea, average life expectancy was in 2019 72 years old, the average like in whole Russia. The average life expectancy of women in Crimea is 76.6 years and for men 67 years, and the difference is approximately 10 years as in whole Russia. What is old man? Old age is a natural coming final period of ontogenesis which completes the individual path of a person's earthly existence with death. What is aging? Aging is age-related changes that limit the adaptive capabilities of the body and lead to old age. Academician of the Russian Academy of Medical Sciences, Professor Shabalin said about aging that aging is a drama in 2 acts. The first act is silently played out in the molecular depths of the tissues, and the second act manifests itself in the mournful signs of the wilting of the external and the suffering of the internal organs. Now there are no one world recognized theory of aging. There are a lot of theories of aging and we will talk about it now. One theory is genetic theory of aging. According to this genetic theory, individuals whose parents lived for more than 81 years lived 6 years more than those whose patients died before their 16th birthday. Also, in monozygotic twins, the dates of death differ by no more than 3 years on average. And the hypothesis that aging is caused by changes in the genetic apparatus of the cell nowadays is one of the most recognized in modern gerontology. And molecular genetic theories fall into 2 large groups. Scientists of one group consider age-related changes in the genome as hereditary programmed, and others believed that aging is a result of the accumulation of random mutations. And hence it follows that the aging process can be as a natural result of the growth and development of an organism, or a consequence of the accumulation of random errors in the system of storage and transmission of genetic information. Other theory is immunological theory of aging. According to this theory, it's a direct dependence on the aging of the immune system. And immunomodulators increase life expectancy, but in experiment. What is Hayflick's limit? In 1961, Hayflick and collaborators proved that even under ideal conditions, the human embryonic blast can only divide a limited number of times, from 50 to 80. In 1971, Alovnikov proposed a hypothesis that with each cell division, its DNA is shortened, which limits the proliferative potential of cells. And the discovery of telomerase, an enzyme that completes the shortened DNA in germ cells and tumor cells, ensuring their immortality, confirmed a Lovnikov hypothesis. Elevation theory of aging. Age-related decrease in sensitivity to signals from the hypothalamus. It's a single regulatory mechanism. And with physiological aging, the biological one is not higher than the calendar or passport age or biological age, otherwise premature aging, progeria. We'll talk about progeria later today. Lovnikov proposed telomeric theory. According to telomeric theory of Lovnikov, cell division leads to shortening of telomeres. Telomeres, as you remember, are ends of linear chromosomes, and therefore, with aging, cells lose the ability to divide and die. According to telomeric theory, telomerase is an enzyme that synthesizes telomeres using a special RNA template. Telomerase is present only in stem cells, germ cells, and tumor cells, so they are able to divide infinitely. The next theory is elevation theory of aging. Elevation theory of aging was proposed by Dillman, and Dillman substantiates the idea of the existence of a single regulatory mechanism that determines the patterns of age-related changes in various homeostatic maintaining the constancy of the internal environment systems of the body. And according to the elevation theory of aging by Dillman, the main link in the mechanism of both development and subsequent aging of the body in the hypothalamus is the conductor of the endocrine system. And elevation from a lot elevation, rise, and in a figurative sense development. And the main reason for aging is an age-related decrease in the sensitivity of the hypothalamus to regulatory signals from the nervous system and endocrine glands. According to the Dillman's concept, according to his elevation theory of aging and relating disease are a byproduct of the implementation of the genetic program of ontogenesis, the development of an organism. And the ontogenic model of age-related pathology has opened up new approaches to the prevention of premature aging and age-related diseases that are the main causes of human death, such as heart disease, malignant neoplasm, strokes, metabolic immunosuppression, atherosclerosis, diabetes mellitus of the elderly, obesity, mental depression, autoimmune, and some other diseases. And from the ontogenetic model, it follows that the development of diseases and natural senile changes can be slowed down if the state of homeostasis is stabilized at the level reached by the end of the organism development. And if the aging rate is slowed down, then the spacious limits of human life can be increased. The next theory is adaptive regulatory theory. The aging model developed by the outstanding Ukrainian physiologist and gerontologist Frolkis in the 1960s-70s, and this theory is based on the widespread belief that old age and death are genetically programmed. It's a part of genetic theory. The highlight of Froelic's theory is that the age-related development and life expectancy are determined by the balance of two processes. Along with the destructive process of aging, the process of anti-aging unfolds, for which Froelich proposed the term vita uct, from Latin vita, life, auctum, to increase. This process is aimed at maintaining the vitality of the organism, its adaptation, and increasing life expectancy. An essential component of his theory, adaptive regulatory theory, is the gene regulatory hypothesis developed by him, according to which the primary mechanism of aging are disturbances in the function of regulatory genes that control the activity of structural genes and, as a result, the intensity of synthesis of proteins encoded in them. Age-related disorders of gene regulation can lead not only to a change in the ratio of synthesis proteins, but also the expression of previously inoperative genes, the appearance of previously not synthesized proteins, and as a result to aging and cell death. Froelich believed that the gene regulatory mechanism of aging are the basis for the development of common types of age-related pathology, such as atherosclerosis, cancer, diabetes mellitus, Parkinson's disease, and Alzheimer's disease. Depending on the activation or suppression of the functions of certain genes, this or that aging syndrome, this or that pathology will develop. And on the basis of these ideas, the idea of gene regulatory therapy was put forward and designed to prevent the shift underlying the development of age-related pathology. Mechanism of vita uct is DNA repair system, its antioxidant system, anti-hypoxic system, and liver microsomal oxidation system. The next is neurogenic theory. In this theory, we will talk about functional disorders of the central nervous system, and gerontologists from France see the root cause of the problem as a decrease in the cognitive capabilities of the human brain. Stochastic or probability theories. According to this group of theories, aging is a result of random processes at the molecular level. Many researchers believe that aging is a consequence of the accumulation of random mutation in chromosomes as a result of wearing out the mechanism of DNA repair, the correction of errors during its coping during cell division. The next is free radical theory of aging. This theory explains not only the mechanism of aging, but also a wide range of pathological processes associated with it. It's cardiovascular diseases, age-related immunosuppression and brain dysfunction, cataracts, cancer, and some others. Harman in 1956 and Emmanuel in 1958 believed that genetic mechanism regulating the cellular response to stress induced by various factors are functionally essential for aging and determine longevity. There are factors that cause free radical formation. It's radiation, smoking, environmental pollution, inflammation, which cause DNA damage. Free radical theory explains not only the mechanism of aging, and according to the free radical theory, the cause of cell dysfunction is the free radicals necessary for many biochemical processes. Reactive oxygen species synthesized mainly in mitochondria, the energy factories of cells. If a very aggressive reactive free radical accidentally leaves the place where it is needed, and they can damage DNA, RNA, proteins and lipids. Nature has provided for a mechanism of protection against excess free radicals. In addition to superoxide dismutase and some other enzymes synthesized in mitochondria and cells, many substances that enter the body with food have an antioxidant effect. For example, vitamins A, C, and E. Regular consumption of vegetables and fruits and even a few cups of tea or coffee a day will provide you with an adequate dose of polyphenols, which are also good antioxidants. Unfortunately, an excess of antioxidants, for example with an overdose of dietary supplements, it's not only unhealthy, but can even intensify oxidative process in cells. Very important theory of apoptosis. Apoptosis, as you know, is a genetically programmed self-destruction of dangerous cells, such as genetically defective tumor cells infected by bacteria and viruses and aging. And important that strengthening or weakening of apoptosis can lead to fatal diseases such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, cardiovascular disease, and tumors. Apoptosis, from Greek leaf fall, is a process of programmed cell death. As trees get rid of parts in order to preserve the whole, so each individual cell, having passed its life cycle, must die out, and a new one must take its place. If a cell becomes infected with a virus or mutation occurs in it, leading to malignancy or simply expires, then in order not to endanger the entire organism, it must die. Very strange theory. Aging is a mistake. The hypothesis of aging by mistake was put forward in 1954 by the American scientist Szilard, investigating the effects of radiation on living organisms. This scientist showed that the effect of ionizing radiation significantly reduced the lifespan of people and animals. And radiation causes numerous mutations in the DNA molecule and initiates some of the symptoms of aging, such as gray hair or cancers. From his observations, Szilard conducted that mutations are the direct cause of aging in living organisms. However, he didn't explain the effect of aging of people and animals that were not exposed to radiation. His follower, Ogel, believed that mutation in the genetic apparatus of a cell can either be spontaneous or arise in response to the influence of aggressive factors, such as ionizing radiation, ultraviolet radiation, exposure to viruses, and toxic mutagenic substances. Over time, the DNA repair system wears out, resulting in aging of the organism. An essential factor of aging is the accumulation of disorders of hereditary material, DNA in somatic cells, which provokes diseases. And the aging diseases are arterial hypertension, ischemic heart disease, diabetes mellitus type 2, osteoporosis, Alzheimer's disease. There are two types of aging. It's natural and premature. Natural or physiological, it's genetically determined and corresponds to a given human population. And natural type of aging is typical for long livers. Premature or accelerated or secondary pathological aging is characterized by earlier development and greater severity. Physiological aging is characterized by good health, good mood, interest in modernity, as you see on picture number 1. It's optimism, active communication, motor ability and self-care. They are sufficient. And premature aging, it's syndromes of decreased adaptation, asthenia, immunodeficiency. Premature aging is characterized by decreased interest of life, lack of communication, and so it's low health, illness, restriction of movement and self-service. Progeria or premature aging, the other names are it's Werner's syndrome or Hutchinson-Gilford syndrome, as you see on these not very beautiful pictures. Psychological characteristics of the elderly. There are three main types of old men. Old man negativist, old man extroverted, and old man introverted. Old man negativist denies in himself any signs of old age and decrepitude. Old man extroverted recognize the onset of old age, and the old man introverted as acutely experiences the aging process, prone to conservatism, the desire for depression. Social gerontology. It's a science that studies the influence of living conditions on the aging process of a person, develops and implements measures for the prevention of premature aging. Its work at retirement age, its rest, motor activity mode, its food hygiene, it's also other name geriatrics, its personal hygiene and home hygiene, its family and community life problems, communication and mental health. And now we have such ways to increase life expectancy. It's active work without harmful production factors, its absence of bad habits, no alcohol, no cigarettes, its high physical activity, as you see on picture, its work and rest regime, its adequate sleep at night, and overcoming stress. The very important part of ways to increase life expectancy, it's rational nutrition. And this rational nutrition can take into account age-related changes and diseases. People have to restrict calories of the diet, restrict simple carbohydrates, animal fats, spicy, fried and smoked foods. Also, one of the ways to increase life expectancy is prevention and treatment of disease, such as obesity, diabetes mellitus, arterial hypertension, coronary heart disease, and other polyunsaturated fatty acids. Diseases of the elderly have features. Diseases proceed more slowly and disguised, which complicates the diagnosis. The illness on treatment is often in an advanced form. Very usual is a typical course of disease, and the elderly are characterized by a change in symptoms of the disease, which can manifest itself as decompensation of heart or respiratory failure. Also in elderly, very often is latent course of the disease. Its minimal clinical manifestations, the absence of an acute onset of the disease, are often disorientating and lead to refusal or late initiation of therapeutic or surgical treatment. A slight subfebrile condition, low leukocytosis, and unexpressed pain syndrome often cause the initial of such serious diagnosis as pneumonia or an acute abdomen. And it is in the elderly that there are frequent causes of asymptomatic course of acute myocardial infarction, peritonitis, perforation of a stomach ulcer, infections, acute thyrotoxicosis, normal body temperature and leukocyte count in acute respiratory infections. Elderly age is characterized by polymorbidity or polypathy and polypharmacy. Polymorbidity or polypathy is a group of diseases united by one pathogenetic mechanism, for example, associated with vascular atherosclerosis or chronic infection. And polypharmacy or iatrogenia is the use of several medications which lead to the development of complications that develop into independent nosological forms and which entail the appointment of an even large number of medications. And in elderly people, there are usually 5 or more different medications. And if you prescribe to a person different medications, a lot of medications, you have to think about their interaction. And at the end of our lecture, I have to talk that old age is a time of wisdom, and living life a person chooses and goes a huge road, stepping into the unknown. Thank you for your attention. Good day.